Hello everyone, Steven here with Cardboard Coalition, and today I figured I'd bring you a how to play of Everdell Duo from Tabletop Tycoon. Now this is a 1 to 2 player game. It's for ages 10 plus, and it takes 30 minutes to play, roughly about 30 minutes. So if you guys want to jump up in the top view, we'll go ahead and see how to play Everdell Duo. Alright everyone, welcome to the top view. So, as I said, we're going to learn how to play, or I'm going to show you guys how to play the versus mode. I'm calling it versus mode, but it's not versus. What is the name of that mode? Competitive. That's what it is. Jesus, competitive. I'm going to teach you guys how to play the competitive mode. See if we can move these in a little bit, get them in the camera a little bit more. There we go. All right, so we're going to look at competitive mode. There are 4 modes to this game. You have competitive, you have cooperative. Both competitive and cooperative are 2-player games. Then you also have a campaign mode, which you can play 1 or 2 players, and you have a challenge mode, which you can play 1 or 2 players. Now, we're just talking about the competitive mode, the old school, original Everdell version. And the reason we're doing that is because once you learn how to play that, then you can play the other ones. There's just slight modifications, and you can find that in the rule book and go from there. All right, so first things first, let's go ahead and set this thing up. You want to go ahead and get out the board. And I don't know if you guys can see, maybe in post, I'll zoom in, right? There, it says journey right there, right? So you want to make sure the journey side is up on the board. All right, once that's ready, you go ahead and you place your moon and your sun. These are going to dictate kind of the pace of the game. Let's see if we can get them to... See, Rezvan messed with my old camera and how it works, so it doesn't zoom in like it used to. All right, anyways, you have the sun and the moon. This kind of dictates how the pacing goes, right? For every turn, you have to move one of them, right? It kind of dictates how many turns everyone gets. So you go ahead and put the sun and the moon down. Once you have them down, you put them in the leftmost space, and you'll see there's these little people on the trail going through the middle of the meadow. This is considered your meadow, right? And you just go ahead and put them in the first space. All right, once you do that, you go ahead and place all your resources out, which we have them over here. I always call it stone, but it's pebble, amber, berry, and wood. There's a berry sitting in my wood. All right, berry and wood. You also go ahead and put out your point tokens and your occupied tokens. I always call these doors, little hobbit doors, but they're occupied tokens. All right, once you have that ready to go, you go ahead and shuffle up your critter cards here, and you go ahead and put them out. You always go left to right, top to bottom. After that, you go ahead and you shuffle up your river tiles. These are your river tiles. You shuffle them up, and you put 2 tiles down here at the bottom of the board. All right, so after you get that done, then the next thing you want to do is your season tiles, which you have right here. You always want to put them winter, and you'll see in this top corner. Come on, camera, do the zoomy zoom. Why is it not doing the zoomy zoom? There we go. All right, so you have the top corner. You have winter, so you always place them winter, spring, summer, fall. Winter, spring, summer, fall. You go ahead and place those there. You have them all set up. This just reminds you of what you do at the beginning of each. Oh, it got blurry there too. This must be set at autofocus. It's really weird. Or not autofocus. So you go ahead and set that up. All right. Then, maybe the update did it. All right. Then the next thing that you want to do after you have your season tokens out. Oh, that's a good reminder before I go to the next thing. You have this skunk. Oh, now I figure out what I have to do. You have this skunk right here. That's for single player, so you don't want that. There's going to be a lot of manual zooming in and zooming out. I'm sorry, guys. All right, so you want that skunk icon facing down. You don't want it up on the top. All right, then this is where it gets, slightly tricky, but it's not. So each one of these, I put one off to the side to show you. All of these, I'm getting used to it here. All of these tiles have a little letter, right? A, B, C, D, E, right? They all have a little letter. Or they'll have, where is it right here? You have your fair card right there, no letter. and then you have your journey card. So what you're going to do is you're going to take all your different alphabetical letters, A, B, C, D, E, I always want to say F, And from the stack, you take one and you put it into another stack. Then you shuffle them all up with the fair tile, which would give you 6 tiles, right? Not counting the journey. You go ahead and you shuffle them all up, and then you put them out randomly across the top. You'll see these little occupied spots along the top. And then the journey one always goes at the end to journey. All right, now we're getting there. So after that, you have your hares meeples and your turtle meeples. Oh, I'm just throwing them everywhere. You go ahead and give the hare to the last person to take a nap, right? And you give the turtles to the other person. Once that's done, each person gets 2 cards. So they get 1, 2, 1 from right here, 1, 2. And then you're ready to start the game. So setup's ready. Now what happens, at the beginning, you go ahead and do what this tile says. So what this tile is telling us, boop, gotta do that auto zoom. What this tile is telling us is the hare gets 1 card from the draw deck. Oh, this is a lot of zoom. From the draw deck, right? This is fun. All right. And then the tortoise gets 1 from the draw deck and any card from the meadow. And then you would replace that card. Oh, or any card from the meadow. Sorry, the zoom is horrible. It's driving me nuts too, guys. So any card, the tortoise gets any card from the deck or any card from the meadow. And then the hare is the first player. So the hare would have got 1 card here. The tortoise would have got 1. And then they go ahead and pick any. We'll just pick this one down here for S and G. If you don't know what that means, kiddos, go ahead and look it up or ask your mom and pop. All right. So once that's ready, the hare player goes first. And you have your turns you do. Now each player, I forgot to say this in the setup, you give each player their card. I'm trying not to go too high. Oop. So we don't have the blur in, blur out stuff. Each player gets their own specific card, right? One's the hare, one's the tortoise. They also get their 3 worker meeples, right? Hare and tortoise. All right, so we're going to use this card to go through all the actions that you have in the game. So the one thing to keep in mind is for every action, except for the free action you'll see at the bottom, you move the sun or the moon. Keep that in mind because you'll get lost in who gets to do what, when, and how many turns are left if you do not do that. All right, so we have our 3 things that we can do. I'm going to brave the zoom in, zoom out. We have the 3 things that we can do, right? We have place a worker, play a card, or draw a card from the deck or from the meadow. All right. So the first thing that you could do is you could place a worker. So anywhere where you see these little paw prints, you can place a worker, right? These we'll explain here in a minute. Those are events. So we're just going to deal with these ones down here. So you would place a worker and then you would take what it says there. So this is 1 amber, right? And 2 berries. So I'd take 1 amber and 2 berries. Now, if someone's in a spot, you cannot place your worker there. Right? Now, there are some cards that allow you to do things where they're occupied, but that's from the cards. So you can't place a worker where someone else is. You can't put multiple workers in a spot, only 1 worker per spot. I guess we can lay these like this so you can see. There we go. All right. So once you place the worker, I almost argue you do this first, but once you place the worker, you go, oh, I'm supposed to move the sun 1 spot. So you'd move the sun 1. Then it goes to the next player. Now the next player, what they can do is one of these actions. But the next action we're going to look at is play a card. So what they can do is they can look at their cards. They can play, oh, I gotta do it like this. Zoom in, Steven. They can play any card from their hand. These are your resource costs on your card. That's the name of your card. Points at the end of the game. And then there are different types of card, which we'll go over here in a minute. These are points that you'll earn at the end of the game for this down here. So they would pick a card, right, for the play a card, and then they would pay it. So if they had 3 berries, right, 1, it's just the easiest one to do, 1, 2, 3, they could decide to play a card into their city. You just kind of find a spot, oop, zoom back out, you find a spot and you play the card into that city, paying those berries back to the supply. Now when you play a card, I think I just lost a berry. When you play a card, you go ahead and move the moon. So like I said, on here, it shows you what to play for what you're doing. So you play a card, you go ahead and move the moon 1. Now the last thing that you can do, I'm going to half look for this berry and I don't see it. I hope I don't forget that berry. All right, the last thing that you can do on your turn, you got to pick one of the 3 things. Oh my gosh, this blurring's killing me. One of the 3 things you have to do. So the last of those 3 things is you can either pull a card from the deck or pull a card from here. I messed up. Let's jump back to play a card. You can play a card either from your hand, right? You could play a card from the meadow, anywhere next to, let's move these just for argument's sake. We'll lay them down so you can see them. You can either play from your hand, so the 3 cards or whatever, you can unlimited hands, so as many cards as you have. You either play from the hand or you play from a card next to the moon or the sun in the meadow. And same thing, you just pay the price. All right, so that's playing card. On to drawing the card. You can draw a card either from the deck or you can draw a card from the meadow and then you put it in your hand. If you do that, I'm balancing, I found the berry. All right, if you do that, you can either move the moon or the sun. So you can pick which one you want to move, right? Moon or the sun. Once you do that, then it goes to the next person. Now, the one thing you can do at any time, and now let's remember not to forget the zoom. One thing you do at any time is you can discard 2 cards to get that symbol means any resource. And that's these 4 resources over here. Discard a card, you go ahead, and you put it in a discard pile at a 90-degree angle. I kind of lost space, but it would be up here, 90-degree angle. Here, let's move all this down. I adjust all this for you guys, and then I forgot to adjust this side. That's how it works. So you do a 90-degree, and you would put it in the discard. You would discard 2 cards. Not this card, but 2 cards. Oh, I thought it focused in for me instantly. All right. So those are the 4 actions, but 3 of them, you have to choose one of them. Now, like I said, we were going to talk about some of the things that were going on. Placing someone up here. To do that, you have to have this in the city, right? So I'm going to go with just the easiest one that they have here. And this one is 5 critters. That means critter. There's another sign. Let's keep that there so you guys don't get sick from the look down, look up. There's another symbol. That means structure. That means critter. So this one says if you have 5 critters, but they have to be in your city. So they have to be built out in the city. If you have that, for your turn, you can place a person there. And remember, always move the sun 1. Once you do that, you get this token, which gives you, this one gives you 5 points at the end. Go ahead and set it down by your player area. And you get whatever's here. This one would be draw a card, right? And you do that once you've met the criteria. It's always in your city. From all the ones we've played, it's always been your city. And you have to put a worker there to get that. The last game Resvanian played, I could have got 2 of them, but she took all the spaces, so I couldn't do it, right? She didn't take all the spaces. I ran out of workers. Take that back. I ran out of workers, so I couldn't do it. All right, so that's what events do. They just give you points at the end of the game. Now, you do that round and round till the sun gets here. Once the sun gets to the end, there's no more sun actions. Once the moon gets to the end, no more moon actions. Once they're both at the end, that's the end of the season. What do you do at the end of the season? You collect up any of your workers that have been put out on the board. You take the sun and the moon, you go ahead and put them back at the start point. Let's see if I can get them to set up right. You get rid of the river tiles, you discard them. You draw 2 new river tiles. You could do 1 stack of river tiles. I like to do 2 because it sets up high, and then draw from any stack. You put your 2 river tiles down. First thing you're supposed to do is you discard this card, right? And then you do what the next card tells you to do, right? And this is something it took a couple games before I learned, but it tells you to rotate out the river tiles, right? This is for the spring. That means activate. That means green. I didn't go over the cards. We'll go over them right now. That means green. And so the tortoise would activate any of their green abilities in their city. The hare would activate any green abilities in their city. The hare would also draw a card off the top. And this is what I didn't learn until we played a couple times, is this shows you who goes first. Whoever, oh, blurry. Sorry. This shows you who goes first. Whoever's on the left goes first, right? So you set all that up, and the player on the left goes first. Now we're going to pause really quick because I just told you guys I didn't explain what the cards do as we went into the second go around. So you have different symbols on all these cards. I feel like I'm going to need to zoom in, and you guys are just going to have to look at the zoomed in version. Let's see. Keep it zoomed in. So you see you have those little symbols right there. So this symbol is a one time, right? When played, you do that action. Sometimes it gives you stuff and things like that. It's a negative points because you get to activate a location occupied by another player or event. So you just get to activate an area and take that, all right? So the next one that you have, sorry for the blur and into focus, is you have, trying to remember the name of these, Prosperity. The other one was called Traveler, but Prosperity, these are, I don't know what I'm doing there. These are your end of game multipliers, basically. So 1 point for each pair of house, structure, and critter in your city. You'd get 1 extra point if they're played into your city, right? All these are played in your city. Then we have the next one right here. We have the innkeeper for this one. And this one is governance, right? And what this does is whatever it says here. You may discard from your city to play a critter for 3 less. You may discard from your city. Oh yeah, you discard this card from your city and you play a critter for 3 less berries. Could be useful. All right, and then the next one. Oh no, that's this one. 2, 3, 4. Why do I feel like we're missing one in all these? I feel like we're missing one. All right, so this one we already talked about with what happens. These ones I always call them evergreen, but it's production, right? So as soon as you put this card down, you do what happens down here, and whenever the green comes up. Right? Whenever green comes up, hint, hint, it comes up twice in the game, all your productions go off. All right, why do I feel like I'm missing? I know I'm missing one. Oh, I know what we're missing. Let's see if we can find one really quick. It's the critter. It's the paw critter things. Watch, just because I'm filming the video now, I'm not going to be able to find one. Everyone's gonna be like, this is a horrible video. It shows me nothing that I need to know. Who made these things? All right, there's one. Oh, there it is. Whew. I thought I had them all set out across the top. I guess I obviously didn't. The last one you have, I always call these the little critter cards. The last one we have is destinations. Oh, it zoomed in down. Oh, there we go. How did I get to auto zoom there? So destinations, right? And that's just a spot where you can put down a critter. Now remember, if you put a worker on here, one, they have to be in your city, but if you put a worker in here, you still have to move the sun, even if it's in your city. So that's the destinations. So that's what all your different cards do. Now you go through this until you've made it through all of them, right? At the end of autumn, then you go into scoring. Scoring is fairly simple. So when you score, the first thing you do is you score this point. Oh, right, auto zooms back in. You score this point from any card in your city, all right? Or your town, whatever you want to call it, this point. The next thing that you do is you go ahead and you do, it's the purple bonus. Oh, I had it right here. It's purple bonuses. So first you do the points on the cards, then you do the bonus points right there. You add them up. The next thing that you want to do is you look at your point tokens that you've gathered along the way. You have 3s, right? We have 3s and 1s over here. Any of those, so if they had some point tokens, you would count those up. Once you count the point tokens, you count all the events, because as I told you, you remember each event has points. Has points right there. And then the journey, which I told you that we'd talk about at the end. What the journey is, whoever, when you go to do, oh, mic malfunction. Sorry about the loud boom. Yeah, the mic broke on me too, right before we started all this. So let's hope it sits where it needs to. We'll see. Maybe I'll just hold it like this. I'm one-handing it at this point, guys, so forgive me. All right, so it's been one of those days. So the journey token, or the journey event, goes at the end of the game, and it's whoever has more cards in their hand plus their city. So that's any cards right here, and any cards that have been played out, they go ahead and get this last journey token. All right, if there's a tie, no one gets the journey token. All right, now, holding this mic. If you don't believe me, look, there's the mic. All right, now, once you've scored everyone, if there is a tie to break ties, you go with most events achieved. If there's still a tie, you go with most leftover resources. If there's still a tie, it's the most cards in the city. And then if there's still a tie, it's most cards in hand, right? And this is your hand, the ones that you haven't played. And then if there's still a tie, then maybe it is whoever you share the tie, right? It doesn't really say that. I think they assume that you're going to beat that tie. All right, everyone. That's how you play Everdell Duo from Tabletop Tycoon. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm Steven with Cardboard Coalition. Thanks for hanging out even with all the technical difficulties. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.